going to show you how accurate AirDNA's Rentilizer numbers are. It's a question I hear thrown around a lot. It's a valid one. I actually use the Rentilizer tool quite a bit because when you're looking at a property that you want to buy for Airbnb, VRBOing, short-term renting, you want to know how much money it's going to make you. Let's go ahead and take a look. I have AirDNA Rentilizer open, and I'm just going to plug in property address that I know how much it's made in the last year. It's a place in Lake Havasu City. So first thing, it says here it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, can house 4 guests. That's the first thing you're going to want to change because it's often not right. I know this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It sleeps 8 people. Right off the jump, it says 51,300. How do I know if that's right or not? The first thing I'm going to want to do is go look it through the comparable homes that it's using. It's got 12 of them here, and you can see them popping up on this map. The distance they are from the house, they're all pretty close. You can see all 12 of them. This one has a pool. It did $39,000 in revenue over 241 days. The one that the subject property I'm interested in, it does not have a pool. So that's something to consider. If it's comparing against houses with pools and yours doesn't have it, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad estimate, but it's just something to keep in mind. If all 12 of these were opulent houses with pools, I'd be real concerned that this is an overestimate. I would hate to have an overestimate. Nonetheless, as I'm just kind of glancing at these, I would go way deeper if I was really considering buying this house and open every one of them up and look at every room and just really get to know how similar are these comparable houses to the one I'm looking at before I make a determination on whether or not I can trust this revenue estimate. Another thing I'm going to look for is this house already being rented on Airbnb? It could pop up as one of these comparable homes, and indeed, this one is. Here it is right here. This is the house. It says it's made $43,700 in the last 12 months. Being available 306 days during that time frame. It has the potential to do $50,000 if it had been available all 365 days of the year. Just seeing that right there, if I find the actual house, the revenue is pacing at a rate that's consistent with this annual revenue number. And by pacing, I mean if it was available all 365 days at the same revenue it's booking at over the shorter time period that it was available, somewhere close to this revenue estimate, then I would consider it reliable. Now, another thing that I've noticed with AirDNA Rentilizer is that these properties, the comparables that it uses, and if you're just looking even at an overview map and looking at the numbers on what AirDNA says the properties are doing historically, I find that it's often underestimated. So this house, $43,700 over the last 12 months. It was available to rent 306 days over that time frame, and it did $43,700. I know for a fact that this house did $51,321.60 in booking revenue over the past 12 months. Got the numbers right here. This is my house, actually. I have other houses, and whenever I look them up on AirDNA, the historic revenue estimates are always low. They're always lower than what I'm actually making. So I have to assume the same is true for the rest of these properties. Now, that being said, this number, can I do $51,300 in the next 12 months? Well, I did it in the last 12 months. Could probably beat that moving forward because the industry is growing, demand is growing. I'm hoping to touch 60,000 on this house in particular. Now, obviously, when you're looking at Rentilizer, you don't have the advantage of owning the house that you're evaluating. This does kind of, I hope, answer the question, how reliable is AirDNA's Rentilizer tool? It often underestimates, which is a great thing, right? You'd love to do better than the estimate. It often underestimates what the comparables are doing historically, which is why it often underestimates the annual revenue. The caveat is the comparables have to be pretty similar to the house you're looking at. As long as these 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes in here are similar in design, layout, updates, whether or not it has a pool, if they're as a whole similar to the property that you're looking at, then I would consider this revenue estimate reliable. You have a good chance of beating it. Sometimes I see these comparable homes are just way worse. It's just a bunch of crap homes that Rentilizer found. It's comparing it to a really nice house you're looking at. In that case, it's going to be an extreme underestimate. You could be passing up on a good opportunity. And there's times where all the comparable homes are much nicer than the subject you're looking at, and it's an incredible overestimate, and that's a good way to get burnt. So that's where you got to be really cautious. Now, here's the thing about AirDNA. It is really strong where we are weak. It can find and aggregate a bunch of data about nearby homes much better than we could do on our own. So that's its strength. Its weakness is actually identifying whether or not those homes are the best ones to compare against the one you're looking at, which is where we as humans with our brains can be strong. Be strong where AirDNA is weak. Take advantage of AirDNA's strengths.